Peace, 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 peace. Peace. Welcome back to the UNI Versal Temple for the sun, planets, moon, and stars. I'll be your Lord of Hosts, Lord Messiah. And today we're going into the Declaration for Intent of Use. Now, the first video we did was the music trust agreement, for artists that want to secure their music, and a trust agreement. And basically, we also created a licensing agreement where they can then license out their music after it's being owned by the trust. So basically, they own the rights to their music, or the trust owns the rights to the music, and then they license out their music. And this declaration for intent of use is basically giving you the right to use your, trademarks. Here, let's start. It says declaration for intent of use: trademarks, service marks, collective marks, design marks, word marks, copyrights, symbols, signs, names, sounds, albums, album covers, songs, bonus tracks, etc. Under agreement and scheduled under Music Trust Agreement 4. So, declaratory intent. This declaration of intent specifies that the trademark or service mark applicant/holder has a bona fide intention to use the marks in commerce in good faith, and that the U.S. Congress can regulate on in connection with the goods or services specified in the international application/subsequent designation, not necessarily internationally. But however, declaratory statement for facts. I, the John Doe, am with the age of majority authorized the declaration with the facts herein. As signatory, I am properly authorized to execute this declaration on behalf of the applicant/holder, the signatory, John Doe, trustee/agent/assignee/licensee, being assigned the authority to act. I, the John Doe, have the personal knowledge of the facts within this declaration statement of facts, or rather say with this declaration statement of facts. So I, the John Doe, bear witness to the facts, and to the best of my knowledge, no other person, firm, corporation, association, or other legal entity has the right to use the marks in commerce, either in the identical form thereof or in such near resemblance. So the appointment for the agent: John Doe is appointed to act as licensed agent for Music Trust 4, Lord Messiah, Mass Asiatic, and has the provisioned authority to license out the use of all trademarks, service marks, collective membership marks, design marks, word marks, copyrights, symbols, signs, names, sounds, albums, songs, bonus tracks, etc. under agreement and scheduled under Music Trust Agreement 4, Lord Messiah, or a spiritual trust, or rather I say a divine trust, how we draw this up as a divine trust under divine principles, which means it's separate from the state, due to separation of church and state, and therefore it can't be taxed or regulated by the state. So that's another thing that, if people want that document, they could get that as well. Trademarks, service marks, collective marks, design marks, word marks, copyrights, symbols, signs, names, sounds, albums, album covers, songs, bonus tracks, etc. So all of that is under the trust as well. So now that right there was a declaration for intent of use, and this right here is a memorandum of law for the declaration for intent of use. And a memorandum of law, memorandum means like memory, or like reminding, so this is basically to remind them of all the laws that support this declaration for intent of use. So me specifically, number one, it says see alternative resolution for Lord Messiah Allah El Irrevocable Living Trust. So that's my dispute resolution that I have within my trust. If people were to get that trust as well, they could have that same dispute resolution in it as well. The ones that I highlighted are very specific ones that I would say people can look up and research and really understand the significance of. So you have the Lamb Act, also known as the Trademark Act of 1946, as codified at 15 U.S.C. 1051. So basically, that Lanham Act is dealing with, trademarks, the Trademark Act, basically stating your right to, for your trademarks and so forth of all your property or intellectual property. You got Allen versus Cooper, June 6th, and Frederick L. Allen versus Roy A. Cooper, the third, governor of North Carolina. The Supreme Court decided that states cannot be liable for copyright infringement under the doctrine of sovereign immunity. 9 U.S. Code 303, order to compel arbitration, appointment of arbitrators, locale, August 15, 1990. 9 U.S. Code 304, recognition, Federal Arbitration Act of 1925. You got 15 U.S.C. Code 1122, liability of U.S. and states and instrumentalities and officials thereof. 15 U.S. Code 1116, injunctive relief. 15 U.S. Code 1117, recovery for violation of rights. Right? So you get, basically be compensated when somebody violates your causes. Rule 902, evidence that is self-authenticating. So this declaration for intent of use can also serve as evidence under 902. Rule 902, Federal Rule 902, is evidence that is self-authenticating. That is something that you should definitely look into and research, because it tells you all the types of things that are evidence that is self-authenticating, meaning you can self-authenticate your own documents, put your own seals on it, and all that good stuff. Right? U.S. Constitution, you get your documents certified, attestated, and all that good stuff. So like if three or more people sign a document all at the same time, you put the minutes on it when it was signed and all that, and y'all all sign and bear witness that y'all signed this. That's called an attestation. That attestation is just as good as a notary. You see what I'm saying? And that's a form of, and that is evidence that is self-authenticating, meaning you self-authenticated it. Okay? So U.S. Constitution, no state shall impair the obligation of contracts, and more properly it says no state shall pass any law impairing the obligation of contracts. So, once again, this declaration for intent of use is licensed under the trust, the music trust agreement, and therefore that implies a contract that no state shall pass any law impairing the obligation of that contract. Okay, so now we have some maxims of law. Default judgment for lack of appearance. So if there's any case dealing with this and the people don't appear, you get the default judgment for their lack of appearance. Document filing procedure, no verbal arguments. Right, so, according to the clauses that I have in contracts, basically I put a clause in there that states that all the hearings shall be based upon a document-based hearing, meaning all we got to do is, and no verbal arguments. So we're not here to argue anything. The documents have been presented, you read the documents, you see what they say, and then you make the decision based on what's written in the documents. See what I'm saying? Commercial rules of arbitration. Award is final and not subject to appeal. So basically, once you win your awards for whatever, that's final and it's not subject to appeal. Ain't no appealing that. It is what it is. Confidentiality of the proceedings, evidence and award save them the embarrassment. So in other words, the hearing can be confidential. It doesn't have to be like all out in the open or like a public hearing where everybody can see. And in that way, it's like music trust agreement for Lord Messiah, aka Master Asiatic, under agreement with John Doe, Irrevocable Living Trust, under agreement with Lord Messiah Law L, UNI Temple for the Sun, Planet, Moon, and Stars Trust, genre, declaration, declaratory statement for the facts, appointment of agent, memorandum of law for declaration for intent of use, maxims of law, autograph for trustee, which will be the last document on here, when you get it notarized and authenticated. Okay, and we have a notice here. Any notice, demand, direction, or other communication required or permitted to be given under this agreement must be in writing and will be sufficiently given if delivered or emailed as followed. So, music trust agreement for Lord Messiah, aka Master Asiatic, John Doe, licensee near John Doe at yahoo.com. Generic email. not a real email, but you know what I mean. That right there, and that's the end of that right there. So the next video we going to do is the Universal Studios and Associates performance agreement between John Doe and Lord Messiah, aka the Master Asiatic. So stay tuned in the next video, and we're gonna get into that, y'all. Peace.